Teal dear, I was reading this article and this piece of music kept cropping up in my head. And as we go on, I'm sure you'll see why. This piece comes from everyone's favourite news outlet, the Huffington Post. The three-letter word that cuts women down every day by Cameron Schaefer. Now I'm just going to give you a little minute to try and work out what that three-letter word is. Surely it must be something pretty egregious. Something absolutely terrible. Some sort of insult or slur. Something that could rock a human to the very core of their being. Something that would absolutely rip to shreds the foundation of their self-confidence. So, have you got your guess in your mind yet? Awesome. Let's read on and find out if you're right. The seasons have just changed, and I always want something new. Recently, I was looking in the mirror after a shower. I decided I wanted change. I have a very love-hate relationship with my hair. I love its uniqueness. It seems signature to me, but I'm never really satisfied. Frustrated, I decided to text a friend. After a quick exchange of opinions about my hair, our conversation ended with, "Well, you don't want it to be too short or too long." What she said was harmless, but it still caused an epiphany. There is no proper way for a woman to cut her hair, let alone do anything right in this world. There seems to be an unobtainable 1 millimeter wide mark of perfection that none of us can reach. Everything is too this or too that. We see it every day in the tabloids. For example, one day a female celebrity is too revealing and the next day she is too matronly. Yes, so the three-letter word that cuts women down every day is too. Yep, we are going there. Back down the rabbit hole of your self-confidence sucks, so it's everyone else's fault. In my experience, I rarely hear too thrown around about men. You hear someone say he's short, but seldom hear too short. Oh, really? Help, my boyfriend's penis is too big. How do I tell my boyfriend his penis size is too small? My boyfriend is too big for me. My boyfriend's penis is too small, sad face. Can I tell my boyfriend he's too fat? Boyfriend too skinny for me. Should I dump my boyfriend for being too fat? How to tell my boyfriend he's too skinny? My boyfriend is too nice to me. My boyfriend is too damn nice. Help! My boyfriend is too rich for me. Should I dump him? I'm dating a guy who's too busy to see me. Should I end it? I don't like cuddling with my boyfriend. He's too muscular. The word too is most certainly used to describe men. Anyway, back to the article. But what does it really mean when you call a woman too? I ask myself, to what? I have determined that too means you're calling a woman too far away from your idyllic version of what a woman should be. And you've missed out a very, very important point there, which is to that individual. And it's rather hilarious that you're kind of putting it in this idea that women need to walk on a knife edge constantly, because otherwise they're to this or to that to the entirety of society, which is simply not the case. People, but especially men, actually have quite a wide range of things that they find acceptable in women. In fact, men have this rather unique ability to look at women and see their imperfections, and still love them for those imperfections, because they don't see those imperfections as imperfections. They see them as what makes that woman unique. And those flaws are actually then part of what that male finds attractive. 5 imperfections that men find totally sexy. Hook noses, chubby tummies, small breasts, looking gross, and gap teeth. Why men can't see their girlfriend's imperfections. Throughout my life, I've marveled at how remarkably unbothered men are by some of the things that have worried me about my own body. Over the years, various boyfriends have claimed not to have noticed that my weight has fluctuated by up to 2 stone. They have assured me that they really cannot see my cellulite, that they wouldn't have noticed my stretch marks unless I had pointed them out, and that they really, really do not care about the presence or absence of a gap between my thighs. And as comforting as I found those reassurances, at least temporarily, I have always assumed that they were, well, lying. Fibbing for all the right reasons, motivated by kindness, you understand, but lying nonetheless. 8 surprising things men do and don't notice about your body. Cellulite, bellies, breasts that don't bounce to attention, what you're doing with your hair down there, and split ends are all things that men do not notice. And the final and I think best article that I found about this: you say flawed, he says sexy. What men really think about your body. 3 ways men see your body. 1. They see what makes you womanly. This means that when they look at you, they instantly notice the things about your body that make you uniquely a woman. Breasts, hips, ass, curves, even the way you walk. It's nearly impossible for a red-blooded heterosexual male to notice anything before they read the parts of your body that say, I am woman. 2. They see what makes you unique. That chipped tooth you hate, they think it's kind of charming. The muffin top, they can't see it because it's too near your ass, which they think is the finest thing in 9 counties. Do you think your lips are too thin? They just love it when you smile at them. 3. They see what you constantly draw their attention to. This is where you have the power to rock or ruin a relationship. When you constantly complain about your own body, a man's desire to enjoy and love you are being eroded a little at a time. In other words, you're rejecting him. He thinks, I could touch her body all day, and you say, I'm too flabby. You're not only tearing yourself down, you're tearing him, his thoughts, his desires for you, his excitement about you, down. A man loves a real woman. Of course he looks at the naked, perfect girls in the magazine or online, and of course you're bombarded with perfect skinny chicks on the runway or the billboard. But a picture of perfection, whether it's real or not, is no competition whatsoever for a living, breathing, fragrant woman sitting next to a man at a restaurant, or pressing slightly against him in the elevator. Perfection can go hang. You are up close and personal. Stepford wives are creepy. You can be assured that while he might fantasize about a playmate of the month, he'll take a real woman over a figment of his imagination every time. Do you get this yet? Men will go to the ends of the earth to excuse and even embrace women's supposed imperfections and flaws. Why do you think that when it comes to things such as pornography, there are so many categories? It's not just slim young hot girls. There's teen girls, there's middle-aged women, there's old women, there's fat women, there's thin women, there's big-breasted women, there's small-breasted women, there's hairy women, there's completely shaved women, there's long-haired women, short-haired women, blonde, brunette, redhead. Men just love women. Sure, men have preferences. One might want a slim, curvy brunette, but if a chunky blonde girl walks in who he can have a conversation with for a couple of hours and make him laugh, he's gonna love her. Men are not fussy. All you have to do is look at this somewhat infamous survey conducted by OkCupid. Not the most scientific or representative of studies, but it indicates the point. Women rated some 80% of men as less than averagely attractive. And for men, it's a perfect bell curve. As in, they think the majority of women are fairly average looking. Men are a lot kinder to women in regards to appearance than women are to men. The person imposing this idea that you can be to this or to that on you is yourself. No one else. Needless to say, this author then winds on to eventually get to this. In every context, it seems to be a damned if you do and damned if you don't for women. It's either she's too prude or she's too promiscuous. She's too delicate and girly, or she's too aggressive and masculine. She's too dumb or she's too bookish. The list goes on. This to me says so much about this author's mindset, and how she seems to be incapable of viewing people as individuals. It's like, all men are just this collective blob over here. What she doesn't seem to realize is that if one man thinks you're too bookish, there's going to be another guy out there who will absolutely love that about you. One guy thinks you're too fat, there's going to be another guy out there who will absolutely love you for it. The only person who is subjecting you to this idea that you are to this or to that is yourself. Just be you. Some guy somewhere will love you for it. The issue comes, and I notice this a lot with women who talk like this, is whether or not it's the man that you want to be interested in you. If the Tumblr fat-positive, body-positive, health-at-any-size crowd has taught us anything, it's that there seems to be a certain kind of woman who seems to think that they can be some fat, slovenly, unshaven, unwashed mass of mewling misandry, who then get butthurt because the only men who they seem to be able to attract are also fat, unshaven, unwashed plebeian masses. As if it's fine for them to have no standards, but as soon as a man has a standard, oh, that's unacceptable, that's sexism, that's oppression, possibly also racism, and a few other isms or ists. But I'm getting sidetracked. Our author does, of course, have a solution to this problematic issue that is in no way draconian at all. We must simply call on both genders to cut the word to from their vocabulary when discussing women. If we ever want an end to the way females are put in boxes, this is the beginning of an important and tumultuous journey ahead. Yep, we just need men and women to stop having standards or opinions about each other. Totally healthy and absolutely reasonable. On the women's side of this issue, we can create change by telling ourselves and others, I am more than enough, and I am exactly who I should be. Every day we should remind ourselves that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, not just in a literal appearance sense, but in every part of who we are. If someone calls you too bitchy, for example, do not be afraid to remind them that you're not too bitchy, you're the right amount of assertive and empowered. No. You don't just get to excuse someone being a bitch as saying, oh, they're just being assertive and empowered. And this is something that I've actually been noticing increasingly, not only in society, but also in the media. That people seem to be having an increasingly difficult time telling bitchy behavior apart from assertive and empowering behavior. One really notable example actually comes from the film Captain America, and the character of Agent Peggy Carter, who has a sort of undeniable attraction to the Captain and a kind of constant will they, won't they sort of sexual tension going on throughout the film. And there is a scene in this film where the Captain, having achieved his celebrity status, is cornered by a young female member of staff, and she starts kissing him. Agent Carter walks in on this, and gets a bit jealous and annoyed. And what is her response a few minutes later? Well, the Captain's being outfitted with some new gear, and let's watch.
You quite finished, Mr. Stark? I'm sure the Captain has some unfinished business.
What do you think?
Yes, I think it works.
Now, I don't know about you, but if I was holding a bulletproof shield and a woman started shooting at me over an earlier misunderstanding, after I was done having a particularly weird boner, I'd think she was a bitch. Not empowered, not assertive. A bitch. There is a difference, and you can't excuse one by calling it the other. And this last paragraph is gold, and I'm just going to read it through verbatim and then give an opinion on the end. I'd like to conclude this rightfully indignant rant by taking personal responsibility. A whole lot of sexism is how men treat women, but there is another facet to misogyny. Internalized sexism. Internalized sexism happens when women themselves mistreat other women based on their gender. Even as a devout feminist, I have personally described women in harsh ways that I'd never apply to a man. I have used the word to in an insensitive way when describing or analyzing a woman. But after teaching myself this lesson, I am taking a vow to ban the word to from my vocabulary. I encourage others to take a look at themselves on the spectrum of injustice. We are all part of it, and it is important to make a personal change, if that's not too much to ask. Oh, you so funny. But I love that. It's not that women are just being bitches to other women, it's internalized misogyny, because when a woman's a bitch to another woman, it's actually men's fault. No, it's not internalized sexism. You have just been more harsh to women than to men because you are a bitch to some women sometimes. And believe it or not, this is actually normal. There have been numerous experiments and studies done on intrasexual competition in humans, which have found over and over and over that women will react with hostility to women who they perceive as some sort of threat to them. This is not some sort of internalized misogyny. It's not something that women do because they learned it from men. It's something that women do because they learned it from women, and they are naturally inclined to do it anyway. Stop trying to blame men for your own personal insecurities.